And if you have any questions, or you want some, this is my startup number 5, and the other 4 didn't go too well. So for numerous reasons. So I have lots of lessons I've learned along the way, and I'm more than happy to share. Just look me up and connect, and we can continue the conversations there as well.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for mentioning it. Of course, I put the link in the show notes. Please reach out to Sami. He's amazing and he shares his knowledge and wisdom about AI and golf as well. Welcome to Inspired Choice today. I'm your host, Caroline Bisalski, here to bring you authentic stories, surprising lessons, and powerful takeaways to fuel your journey in business and life. In each episode, I'll take you from one inspiring guest to the next, blending their experiences with my expertise to uncover practical strategies you can use right away. Whether you're starting out or stepping up, stay tuned for insights and actionable tips that make a difference. And stick around until the end for a special freebie just for our listeners. Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline and my today's guest is Sami, Hero, and I hope I pronounced your name right. How are you doing today?
Just great. It's Friday and the long weekend ahead, so life is good.
Yes, life is good, and I also love your background with the little lake, nature, and you told me you are in Finland right now. That's amazing.
Yeah, I moved from New Jersey to Finland 6.5 years ago.
Wow.
So
And I would like to, yeah,
Go
yes,
ahead.
you would. I would like to introduce you to the audience, of course. Yes. So you are a seasoned SaaS and subscription business executive with expertise in sales, marketing, and operations. With over 20 years of experience managing remote global teams, you led successful transformations across startups, scale-ups, and billion-dollar companies. A Stevie Award winner in digital transformation, you thrive in data-driven roles like CMO, CRO, and COO, always seeking innovative ways to achieve growth. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Sami.
Thank you
Oh,
very much. Thank you.
that is you. And I have questions. Of course, my first question is, what's one overlooked metric SaaS leaders should focus on to unlock growth faster?
I don't know if it's overlooked, but I like to look at the net retention rate a fair amount. Obviously we always look at revenue and we look at churn, but the net retention rate is usually the one that helps you see the likelihood for continued growth. Essentially, if you have it over 110%, if it goes to 125, you're likely to be able to scale up very, very fast from there on.
Wow, so you can forecast your success.
In a sense, yes. Or if it's below 100, you are kind of you have a little boat that's leaking constantly. So your sales team and marketing team is struggling potentially to keep up.
Wow, what a great analogy. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. My next question is, how do you ensure remote teams stay aligned and motivated across time zones?
Yeah, that's a couple of years ago. I worked in obviously pandemic. It was the tail end of the pandemic. I worked with a company who was doing remote events, remote event platforms essentially, and we had our team was spread all over the world. So I had people all over, from California all over to Japan. So I covered roughly 17 hours of time zones. And I learned a lot about using both asynchronous and synchronous communications. It's like we do town halls and we have meetings, but it's impossible to have everybody together at the same time when you have so many time zones. So somebody's always going to be sleeping or half asleep. So what we ended up doing a lot was we used something called Notion. So we recorded all the meetings, and then we uploaded those onto the Notion. But then we also wrote a lot of reports and minutes and notes. Obviously, now with AI, it's a lot easier to get transcriptions and tasks and things done. Those days we just essentially typed. But yeah, and then what we did a lot as well was that we mixed it up. So sometimes we had meetings like very early for Europe, and then sometimes very late, so that we could grab a little bit more of the people from the California time zones, US time zones, and then Asia on the other hand. It's not easy, and obviously it's easier nowadays, but it takes a lot of effort from whoever is leading the teams and also from the team members.
Oh, I see what you mean. Thank you for sharing. 17 hours is is really big as the time zone gap, so to say. And you mentioned AI already, and it improved, of course. And what would you say are the differences between cultures using AI or refusing to use AI?
Ooh, that's a really interesting question. So I think the biggest thing which is coming out from the AI now is the inherent bias that is in there. Obviously, the largest language models have a little bit less of the bias because they have such a large corpus of content coming from all over the world. But the smaller models, which are primarily trained on maybe regional, I haven't had the opportunity to test the new Chinese trained model, but it would be interesting to see how it would it respond differently to the same prompts that you might get from a US based or European based model. But there's a little bit of risk always in not knowing what the training set looks like. And I'll have an example actually for this. It was couple of years ago during the pandemic, we were measuring customer experience in physical spaces. Like we had a little tablets where we would ask like, how was your shopping experience? And because people didn't want to touch those devices, we used a camera, so you could give like 2 fingers or 3 fingers to give the feedback. And we used an AI, a trained model, to recognize from the camera that they were fingers and how many and so forth. But the original model was only trained essentially with white people, or like kind of mostly white hands. So then when we tried it with more diverse user base, we realized that the model didn't work at all. So we had to go back and find a new model, retrain the new model, and so forth. So these kind of situations tend to happen still.
Wow, I love it. Thank you for sharing. I understand better now. Yes, what you mean as well. And while you were talking, I thought about, because what I learned is the quality of the answers you get through AI is determined by the quality of the questions in the first place. And when I think about cultural differences in asking questions, for example, politeness or something, I give an example from me. It is when I, European style or German is very direct. So I ask
Yep.
my questions and I don't say hello or goodbye. I just ask the question. And then I heard from my American friends that they use like please give me an answer, or then after they receive the answer they say thank you or something. And I never did this. Do you think there's a difference in the answers when you are not polite to your AI?
No. It's the way the prompts or the questions you ask the model, they get stripped out of all the niceties anyways. It's the technically speaking, what the service does is that it pulls the essence, so it uses natural language processing, and it pulls the context and the essential words only from the request, and leverages those. What does happen though is that a lot of the large language models tend to be more polite in their answers. So in some cases, in your prompt, you have to say is that please be very harsh or critical or realistic or cynical or something like that, to ensure that that you might get a little bit, like, especially if you let's say you write an email and you want the ChatGPT, for instance, to give some feedback on the email, if you just say, what do you think of my email, it will probably be very nice and polite and say, your email looks perfectly fine. But if you ask it to be like, be very critical, this email is targeting certain types of people, I'm sending an email to a German person, can you translate this and give me some feedback? You may want to be more direct and so forth. So instructing the LLMs to give better answers, that's kind of the prompt engineering practice that we are still learning a little bit in the markets.
Wow, that's so great. Thank you so much. I learned something, and there's so much more to learn. I never thought of it that way. I just asked my questions but I was wondering already because it was so easy. And then sometimes when you send it to someone, the reaction is different than you receive.
Yeah, that's something like, it's almost I think somebody put it pretty well. It's almost like explaining to a junior person on what you would like them to go investigate. It's like a lot of time, if you create content, you need to start saying, pretend that you are a translator, or pretend that you are a marketer, pretend that you are something, and then you need to explain who you are writing it for and what the topic is and how technical you want it to be. So sometimes, like, you can ask a very simple question, but sometimes you end up writing a lot of requests, especially now with the newer models that are capable of reasoning. Like, Germans are very logical. In a sense, you might explain the logical expectation, and then the tool will go and think for a while and come back with an answer. Like, I had a little while ago, I had a CEO was asking me about how they could use AI to answer a question, which was like, we are making profit from our sustainable fashion company. How should we distribute the profits based that there are different kinds of stakeholders? And I essentially wrote like pretty lengthy prompt, and I passed it to one of the OpenAI's newer models, these reasoning models, and it gave a very, very good explanation how the CEO should do that and how to explain it to employees and shareholders and the markets and others. And it was like a 2-page worth of explanation. So they can be, the answers can be incredibly good, but also sometimes they can be incredibly bad as well. They look completely logical and they're completely wrong. So you need to be a little bit also careful on reviewing what the answers are.
Okay, thank you. That helps next time when I use it, of course. And it's only the beginning, and there's so much more to come. And of course, I have another question for you. It is, what's the biggest mistake companies make when approaching digital transformation, and how can they fix it?
I think one of the mistakes that tends to be is that we take something that works in real life or in a physical world, and we just dump it. We try to create a digital twin without thinking too much about it, and that oftentimes misses the mark. Like, if you are let's say you are in retail, and then you decide, like everybody decided some years ago, that we need to build an e-commerce site. So you just take your retail processes from your stores and you dump it online, and then you expect things to work. But oftentimes what ends up happening is that you have slightly different audiences, slightly different visitors, different behavior when you're buying online. So the expectations are also very different from going to the store and so forth. So you might essentially make a pretty big and expensive mistake. And what I would say is that on how to mitigate is to kind of get the business and the technical people together and try to conceptually model on what are we trying to do and create a common understanding of what we're doing, so that it's not a technical exercise of just make it digital, but it becomes more of a transformation first, digital second, and then we build something that we can also test and see how it works in the market.
I understand the differences. So you have to build it first, and it's not the same like in the physical world, so to say, the digital.
The expectations are slightly different. It's a little bit like the electric vehicles as well. It's the people who are buying BMW in Germany, they love to drive, and the electric vehicle experience might not quite be the same as what they were expecting. So then the sales success is not quite there.
Yes, that's so true what you said. And at the end, when we think about it, it's all just a habit. So when we
Yes.
think first, when we first had the electrical cars, and I heard about that the first cars were electrical indeed 100 years ago, but didn't become a habit. So so now the habit is to drive the other ones, and this is what the customer expects, right? Wow.
Yeah, and slowly now our habits are changing. It's like my sister came to visit around Christmas time from Helsinki, and she has an electric car. So as they were coming up, they needed to find a place to charge it, because and find one of those fast chargers. So it becomes like you are much more focused on where do I charge my car, rather than with the gas powered cars. It's maybe we're a little bit less stressed because we know that we can drive a lot further, and there are a lot more gas stations than fast chargers still in Europe.
Yes, that's so true. So I'm very curious about what the future will bring us. And of course, I have another question. It's about your coaches and mentors. Do you have coaches and mentors for yourself? And who was the best coach you ever had?
Ooh, the best coach. I had actually, I really did enjoy working with an American coach called Roz Asheroff. And she still does corporate coaching and things. And a really good coach sometimes is almost like a therapist. It's because the best kind of coaches will and mentors will listen carefully to understand where you're coming from and where you want to go, and they'll help you by asking open-ended questions. They'll kind of tease out the reasons why you might not be as successful as you would like to be, for instance, and they'll help you create some, again, new habits, like you said, new mental models on what do I want out of life and what do I need to do to get there.
Wow, what a great answer. Thank you so much. Yes, that's so true. A mentor saves you time as well, and you don't have to make the same mistakes as they did, for example. And I love the listening part as well, the active listening, and then they will ask the right questions, just like AI, or you feed AI with the right questions, and then you have the answer, right? Wow.
There was a very, very long time ago, it had nothing to do with AI, but it was just cleverly built software, which was called Dr. Eliza or something like that. And it had a fairly straightforward algorithm that was asking questions like, interesting, tell me more about that. And it would fetch a few keywords from your answers, and subsequently kind of have a conversation with you. And that's a lot about the listening to understand instead of listening to respond. We're so kind of, our attention spans are so short. We tend to just, even in meetings at work, we tend to listen and be ready to pounce. It's like, now it's my turn to talk, rather than try to really understand where people are coming from and what's going on.
Yes, that's so true. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, listening to understand and not to respond. What a great quote. And I have one last question for you. It is about your goals and intentions. Do you set goals? And what is one of your next projects?
Right now, I just recently joined a startup in Finland as the CEO. So my professional goals are very clear. It is to grow the company by 100% in 2025. And then subsequently we want to raise some funds for the startup, because it's a seed funded right now. So we want to raise Series A. And in my personal life, I'm going to keep the same sports related goal in 2025 as I had for last year, but I failed it miserably last year. It's I love to play golf, so I have a clear target in my mind on what my handicap needs to be, and I didn't quite get to it last summer, but there's always another summer ahead.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you for sharing. I love that. So I will follow up on that. And next year, I can ask you if you achieved your goals. That's so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing and our interview, of course. And now is time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
No, I'm very willing to always share, and that's why I love the idea of participating in podcasts and things. Feel free to look me up on LinkedIn, and if you have any questions, or you want some, this is my startup number 5, and the other 4 didn't go too well, so for numerous reasons. So I have lots of lessons I've learned along the way, and I'm more than happy to share. Just look me up and connect, and we can continue the conversations there as well.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for mentioning it. Of course, I put the link in the show notes. Please reach out to Sami. He's amazing and he shares his knowledge and wisdom about AI and golf as well. I love it. Thank you so much for our interview.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting.
And see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Inspired Choice today. I'm thrilled to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Don't forget to hit follow or subscribe to stay connected and never miss an episode. And here's something special. Grab your free 20-minute breakthrough session with me. It's designed to help you kickstart or level up your business. Just check out the show notes for more. Until next time, keep making those inspired choices. See you in the next episode.